The vast darkness of space stretched endlessly around the human exploration vessel horizon. Captain J. Park stood at the command center, his eyes scanning the holographic displays that flickered with soft blue light. The ship hummed with quiet anticipation, cutting through the silent void like a silver arrow. Suddenly, the ship's sensors began to pulse with an unusual reading. Something was approaching, something unlike anything they had encountered before. The crew tensed, their movements precise and controlled. "Captain," called out the junior navigation officer, "we're detecting an anomalous liquid substance moving at incredible speed." J. Park leaned forward, his dark eyes narrowing. The substance looked like liquid, but it moved with an intelligence that suggested something far more complex. It shimmered with an otherworldly blue-green color, shifting and changing shape as it approached the horizon. The alien communication systems remained silent. No warnings, no transmissions, just the approaching liquid weapon that seemed to breathe with its own consciousness. Veteran crew members exchanged worried glances. They had heard stories about these legendary hydro weapons that could dissolve entire starships in moments. "Defensive protocols," Jay commanded, his voice calm but firm. Quantum shields activated, creating a protective barrier around the ship. But something about this weapon felt different. It wasn't behaving like the standard liquid weapons described in galactic records. As the substance drew closer, it began to split into multiple smaller streams. Each stream moved with calculated precision, probing the ship's defenses like intelligent tendrils. The crew watched in a mix of terror and fascination as the liquid weapon demonstrated an almost sentient behavior. The ship's chief scientist, monitoring the readings, whispered something under her breath. The molecular composition of this weapon was unlike anything in their databases. It seemed to be adapting, changing its molecular structure with each passing second. "It's studying us," one of the crew members muttered. J. Park understood immediately. This wasn't just a weapon. This was something more sophisticated, more alive than any technological instrument they had ever encountered. The hydro weapon continued its approach, now surrounding the horizon from multiple angles. Traditional defensive systems seemed almost laughable against its fluid intelligence. It could penetrate their shields, reshape itself, attack from any direction. For a moment, time seemed to stand still. The crew held their collective breath, waiting for the inevitable destruction. Every galactic civilization had stories about these weapons, how they could dissolve matter at the molecular level, leaving nothing but dust and memory. But something unexpected happened. Instead of attacking, the liquid weapon began to communicate. Not through standard communication channels, but through subtle molecular vibrations that the ship's advanced sensors could barely detect. It was sending a message. J. Park realized they were witnessing something beyond a simple weapon. This was a form of intelligence so advanced that it defied their current understanding of technology and life itself. The blue-green liquid swirled around the horizon, creating intricate patterns that seemed to pulse with an internal rhythm. It was beautiful and terrifying simultaneously, a dance of potential destruction and unexplained complexity. "Hold position," Jay ordered, sensing that any aggressive move might trigger an immediate and catastrophic response. The crew watched in collective silence as the hydro weapon continued its intricate dance around their ship. Whatever was happening, they knew this moment would change everything they understood about warfare, technology, and potentially life itself. In the cold, silent expanse of space, the horizon and the mysterious liquid weapon remained locked in, a delicate, potentially deadly encounter. Neither moving, neither attacking, just existing in a moment of profound uncertainty. One thing was certain: humanity had just encountered something that would challenge everything they knew about the universe. The laboratory hummed with an electric tension. Dr. Hana Kim carefully maneuvered the captured hydro weapon sample into a reinforced quantum glass container. Her hands moved with practiced precision, each movement calculated and controlled. Lieutenant Sung Choi watched from across the room, his tactical mind already analyzing every potential scenario. The liquid inside the container seemed to breathe, pulsing with an inner light that defied natural physics. "It's alive," Hana muttered, more to herself than to anyone else. The sample they had collected from the initial encounter was unlike any substance previously documented. It shifted colors, sometimes deep blue, sometimes a translucent green, always moving, always changing. Traditional scientific instruments struggled to make sense of its molecular structure. Preliminary scans revealed something extraordinary. The liquid wasn't just a weapon. It contained complex molecular chains that suggested an advanced form of intelligence. Each time they tried to analyze it, the substance seemed to react, almost as if it was aware of being studied. "We need to run more tests," Sung suggested, his voice cutting through the laboratory's tense silence. Hana nodded. She connected a series of sophisticated scanning devices to the quantum glass container. The moment the first sensor touched the liquid, it responded. Molecular structures began to realign, creating intricate patterns that looked almost like a language. Captain J. Park entered the laboratory, his presence immediately changing the room's atmosphere. He looked at the dancing liquid with a mixture of curiosity and caution. "What have you discovered?" he asked. Hana pointed to the complex molecular patterns. "This isn't just a weapon. It's some form of communication. The molecular structure changes based on external stimuli. It's responding to our equipment, to our presence." The hydro weapon sample continued its mesmerizing dance. Lieutenant Sung brought up holographic displays showing its molecular composition. The images revealed layers of complexity that seemed impossible for a simple liquid weapon. "If this is a weapon," Sung said carefully, "it's the most advanced form of technological intelligence we've ever encountered." The laboratory team worked in shifts, monitoring the sample around the clock. Each hour brought new discoveries. The ether liquid seemed to have its own internal rhythm, its own form of consciousness that defied current scientific understanding. One of the junior researchers noticed something peculiar. When exposed to specific electromagnetic frequencies, the hydro weapon sample would change its molecular structure more dramatically. It was adapting, learning, responding. "It's like it's trying to communicate," the researcher whispered. Captain J. Park approached the container, studying the liquid carefully. For a moment, he could have sworn the substance responded to his presence, its colors shifting slightly, its internal movements changing tempo. Dr. Hana Kim ran multiple tests: chemical analysis, quantum scanning, molecular resonance. Each test revealed more questions than answers. The hydro weapon was not just a weapon, it was something more. "We're dealing with something beyond our current understanding," Hana explained to the team. "This isn't just a technological instrument. It's a form of intelligent liquid that can adapt, change, and potentially communicate." Lieutenant Sung remained cautious. Military protocols demanded they treat the sample as a potential threat. But something about its behavior suggested something far more complex than a simple weapon of destruction. Hours turned into days. The laboratory became a hub of constant activity. Scientists from various disciplines were called in to study the mysterious liquid. Each brought their own expertise, their own perspective. But the hydro weapon sample remained an enigma. As night fell on the research station, the liquid continued its mesmerizing dance. It moved within the quantum glass container, creating patterns that seemed to hint at a deeper intelligence. Something was waiting to be understood. The initial encounter had just begun, and humanity stood on the brink of a discovery that would change everything they knew about technology, intelligence, and the nature of life itself. The research station buzzed with nervous energy. Dr. Hana Kim stood before a massive screen filled with complex molecular diagrams, her eyes tracking every minute detail of the hydro weapon sample. "We found something," she announced to the team. The liquid weapon contained an extraordinary nutritional compound. Its molecular structure wasn't just complex, it was potentially consumable. Initial tests suggested the substance could be metabolized by human biological systems. Captain J. Park listened carefully. The implications were massive. A weapon that could potentially be turned into a nutritional source? It seemed impossible. Lieutenant Sung Choi ran additional simulations. Computer models showed the liquid's molecular chains breaking down in ways that suggested it could be absorbed by human cells. Each simulation revealed more fascinating details. It's not just consumable, Hana explained. The molecular structure suggests potential biological enhancement. The first experimental test involved a small robotic probe. They carefully introduced a microscopic amount of the hydro weapon liquid into the probe's system. The results were shocking. The liquid began to integrate with the probe's mechanical components, enhancing its operational capabilities. Military researchers watched with a mixture of excitement and fear. If the liquid could enhance mechanical systems, what could it do to living organisms? Volunteer test subjects were carefully selected. These were the most advanced human researchers, individuals who understood the potential risks. They knew this could be a breakthrough or a potential disaster. The first human test subject was a young researcher named Park Ji-won. He agreed to have a microscopic amount of the hydro weapon liquid introduced into his bloodstream under strict medical supervision. Initial moments were tense. Medical monitors tracked every single biological response. The liquid moved through Ji-won's system, interacting with cells in ways no one had predicted. Within minutes, something extraordinary happened. Ji-won's cellular regeneration increased dramatically. Minor injuries began healing at an accelerated rate. His muscle density improved. Neurological responses became faster and more efficient. Incredible, Hana whispered, watching the medical data stream across her screens. The scientific team realized they had discovered something beyond a simple weapon. This was a potential biological enhancement agent, a substance that could improve human capabilities at a cellular level. Lieutenant Sung began preparing military reports. If this discovery could be weaponized, it would change warfare forever. Humans could potentially become faster, stronger, more resilient. Captain J. Park understood the broader implications. This wasn't just about military advantage. This could revolutionize medical treatment, human performance, potentially even human evolution. More tests followed. Each test revealed new layers of complexity. The hydroweapon liquid seemed to adapt to each individual's biological system, providing unique enhancements based on individual genetic makeup. Some subjects experienced increased strength. Others showed enhanced healing capabilities. A few demonstrated improved cognitive functions. The liquid was intelligent, responsive, almost alive. Research continued around the clock. The station became a hub of constant activity. Scientists from multiple disciplines worked together, trying to unlock the full potential of this extraordinary substance. We're not just studying a weapon, Hana told her team. We're studying a potential key to human biological advancement. The military watched closely. The potential for creating enhanced soldiers was obvious, but the scientific team saw something more. A potential breakthrough in understanding human biological potential. As weeks passed, they discovered the liquid could be controlled. Specific electromagnetic frequencies could modify its molecular structure, allowing precise manipulation of its enhancement capabilities. The hydro weapon was transforming from a tool of destruction into a potential tool of human advancement. What was once feared could now be understood, controlled, potentially even beneficial. Captain J. Park looked at the latest test results. Humanity stood on the edge of a scientific revolution. The liquid that was meant to destroy them might actually help them evolve. The military training facility looked like something from another world. Soldiers stood in neat rows, each prepared to undergo the most radical transformation in human military history. Captain J. Park watched as the first squadron prepared to consume the modified hydro weapon liquid. Medical teams monitored every detail, their equipment tracking the slightest biological change. The first group of 10 soldiers received carefully measured doses. They stood silent, waiting. No one knew exactly what would happen. Minutes passed. Then something extraordinary began. The soldiers' bodies started to change. Muscles became denser. Healing processes accelerated. Their reflexes transformed from human to something beyond human. Sergeant Kim Dae-sung was the first to demonstrate the full effect. A training blade sliced his arm, a wound that would normally require immediate medical attention. But before anyone could react, the skin began healing instantly. The cut disappeared within seconds. Lieutenant Sung Choi observed the transformations with scientific precision. Each soldier was developing unique enhanced capabilities. Some showed increased strength, others demonstrated incredible speed. Few exhibited enhanced cognitive responses that defied normal human limitations. The alien civilizations monitoring human communication channels would have been terrified if they could see what was happening. Military strategists quickly developed new training protocols. These weren't just soldiers anymore. They were something entirely new. Biological weapon systems that could adapt, heal, and respond faster than any known military unit in galactic history. One soldier demonstrated the ability to metabolize environmental toxins. Another could regulate body temperature in extreme conditions. Their bodies were becoming living weapons, transforming the concept of human military capability. Admiral Wu Li reviewed the initial reports. What started as a potential threat had become humanity's greatest military advantage. The hydro weapon that was meant to destroy them was now making them virtually indestructible. Training scenarios became increasingly complex. The enhanced soldiers could coordinate with unprecedented precision. Their communication systems seemed to work at a molecular level, creating a kind of biological network that traditional communication systems couldn't understand. Tactical simulations showed remarkable results. These soldiers could survive conditions that would kill normal humans instantly. Extreme temperatures, toxic environments, high radiation zones, nothing seemed to stop them. The first real-world test came during a simulated alien encounter. A mock battle designed to test the enhanced soldiers' capabilities revealed something shocking. They weren't just surviving, they were completely rewriting the rules of military engagement. One soldier demonstrated the ability to absorb and redirect energy weapons. Another could create temporary molecular shields that deflected incoming attacks. Their bodies had become more than human. They were living technological systems. Captain J. Park watched the demonstrations with a mix of pride and caution. They had transformed a weapon of destruction into a tool of human survival and advancement. The alien observation networks began to change their reports. Humans were no longer seen as a potential conquest. They were becoming something to be feared. Medical teams continued research. Each enhancement revealed new possibilities. The hydro weapon liquid wasn't just changing soldiers, it was potentially rewriting human biological potential. Training continued. More soldiers underwent the transformation. Each group showed unique capabilities, demonstrating that the liquid responded differently to individual genetic structures. Lieutenant Sung developed new tactical doctrines. These weren't traditional soldiers anymore. They were adaptive biological units that could change and respond faster than any known military system in the galaxy. The first international demonstrations shocked military experts from around the world. These soldiers could do things that seemed impossible. They could heal instantly, adapt to extreme conditions, and coordinate with a precision that seemed almost supernatural. As the training continued, one thing became clear. Humanity had just changed the rules of warfare forever. The weapon meant to destroy them had become their ultimate weapon of survival. The massive human fleet emerged from hyperspace, a silver constellation against the dark backdrop of space. Admiral Wu Li stood on the bridge of the flagship, his enhanced eyes scanning the alien defensive line. Alien communication channels erupted with panic. They recognized the human vessels, ships that now carried something far more terrifying than traditional weapons. "Prepare hydro-adaptation protocols," Admiral Li commanded. The first wave of enhanced human soldiers prepared for deployment. Their bodies glowed with an internal energy, molecular structures ready to adapt to any potential threat. These were no longer simple human soldiers. They were living weapon systems. Alien defensive positions began to crumble before the first shot was even fired. The psychological impact of human capabilities had already broken their will to fight. The hydro weapon that was once their most powerful instrument of destruction had become humanity's ultimate evolutionary advantage. Each human soldier could metabolize environmental threats, heal instantaneously, and adapt faster than any known biological system in the galaxy. Alien fleet commanders watched in horror as human ships approached. Their most advanced weapons seemed like children's toys against the transformed human technology. Captain J. Park led the initial assault. His enhanced body moved with impossible precision. Where alien weapons would normally destroy a human, he absorbed and redirected their energy. Each attack made him stronger, faster, more resilient. The first battle lasted less than 30 minutes. Entire alien defensive lines collapsed, not through traditional destruction, but through a complete demonstration of biological superiority. Alien. Diplomatic channels began transmitting surrender messages. They understood something fundamental had changed. Humans were no longer a species to be conquered. They were a force of nature. Dr. Hana Kim, who had first discovered the Hydra weapon's potential, watched the tactical displays. Her research had transformed human potential beyond anything anyone could have imagined. Lieutenant Sung Choi coordinated strategic movements. The enhanced human fleet moved like a single living organism. Each ship and soldier connected through molecular communication networks that defied traditional understanding. The galactic power structure began to shift. Alien civilizations that had spent millennia developing weapon technologies found themselves completely obsolete. Humans had turned their most feared weapon into a tool of evolutionary advancement. Planetary invasions became almost peaceful. Enhanced human units could neutralize entire planetary defense systems without significant casualties. They could adapt to any environmental condition, metabolize any potential threat. Communication intercepts revealed the growing terror among alien civilizations. Humans were no longer seen as a potential conquest. They were a species that could transform any threat into an opportunity. Admiral Lee understood the broader implications. This wasn't just a military victory. This was a fundamental transformation of human potential. The Hydra weapon liquid continued to reveal new capabilities. Some enhanced humans could now communicate across vast distances through molecular resonance. Others could interface directly with technological systems. Alien diplomatic missions began arriving, seeking peaceful negotiations. They understood that conventional warfare was now impossible against this transformed human species. Captain J. Park received the first surrender documents. The alien civilizations recognized humanity's new status. They were no longer just another species in the galaxy. They were its new evolutionary leaders. The transformation was complete. What began as a mysterious liquid weapon had become humanity's path to galactic dominance. Scientific research continued. Each enhanced human revealed new potential, new capabilities that expanded the understanding of biological and technological integration. Admiral Wu Li looked out at the vast expanse of space. Humanity had done something unprecedented. They had taken a weapon designed to destroy them and transformed it into their ultimate instrument of survival and advancement. The galaxy would never be the same again. Humans had rewritten the rules of evolution, warfare, and potential. Galactic dominance was achieved. Not through destruction, but through the most remarkable adaptation in recorded history.